Sam, when you're ready, off you go.
Alright, hi everyone, my name's Sam, and these are my experimentations. I've essentially done 4 experimentations surrounding screenwriting. However, due to the fact that screenwriting is kind of difficult to experiment with, I've decided to try and use technical aspects of the production to mirror aspects of the screenplay that I want to improve or that I want to specifically sort of engage with. So going into my first experiment, it's based around sound design. Essentially, I wanted to replicate the tone and the feeling that comes to me naturally writing the script, as I'm the one creating it, but I understand may not come naturally to an audience if perhaps some aspects of the technical side aren't there. So for my first experiment, I have created a piece of music that I intend to use in my FMP and that I think accurately mirrors the tone and the narrative, or the tone of the narrative in my script that I've written. And that'll be played alongside my second experiment, which is a visual experiment, as to save time. Moving on to my second experiment, I wanted to experiment with how various lighting and how different sequences of flashing or strobing lights in different colours can affect your perception of the film. It can affect your perception of the tone of the film specifically. How it can, essentially, I've just said it, essentially affect how you view the thing. Now this is a long video, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm just going to play a series of like 10-second increments just to illustrate the various sequences of light.
The greater part, for which words were conceived solely to speak of things it passed me. And as twilight passed into evening, I felt my special plan, for which there are no words, moving towards a greater dark. There are some who have no voices, or none that will ever speak a plain word.
So yeah, apologies for how disjointed that was. I just didn't want to play the full 5-minute video. Obviously, if you watch it in full 5-minute sequence, it will actively be more cohesive. Keyboard.
Press there.
Sorry.
I say click escape.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was, but it was like this different one. Sorry, my mistake. But yeah, the audio there was a piece of music I made to try and replicate the kind of uneasy tone and the unsettling atmosphere that I'm trying to present within my screenplay. And the visuals, when watched fully, I assure you they're more cohesive. The lighting sort of creates an uneasy, almost nauseous feeling, or at least I'm trying to create that to sort of instill a almost primal feeling in the viewer that relates to the tone I'm trying to get across through the writing. Now, moving on to the next one, my third experiment is experimenting with different kinds of cameras. Different cameras to illustrate different, once again, tones. I'm going to be sick of this work by the end of the day. But it's going to illustrate changes in mood, changes in atmosphere, changes in tone. And the chroma key isn't part of the experiment. However, I will ask you to forgive my terrible chroma key skills. But aside from that, here it is. Oh, okay. Essentially, the shots from above were done on a phone. They were done on crane using a variety of cameras. The shots that were close up were essentially using a DSLR, and I was trying to do this to sort of give a sort of intense connection feeling with this individual, and then a slightly more objective, panned out, high resolution view, as if it's from some other source. From this, I come to the conclusion that it can be effective. However, due to the massive difference in a lot of cameras and a lot of ways they work, a lot of resolution, etc., etc., it's far more concise to just change the lenses or focus on it primarily in post-production, as opposed to during pre-production. And this is my final experiment, and this is very similar. It's different lenses this time, about the way different lenses, different angles can impact how you view a finished product, if it can make it more impactful, and if so, how that relates to the narrative and the tone, once again. Here you can see that I've stitched together POV footage from one camera with a fisheye lens, and then occasionally cutting out to emphasize the emphasis of the blows to a DSLR, which is an external force, sort of jumping between these two different viewpoints, I suppose, to emphasize the impact of the personal aspect and the external aspect. So that was the end of that experiment, and all I'll say now is that I forgot to say at the beginning, the main inspiration for my FMP and for these experiments in general is the creative Alejandro Jodorowsky, and his main selling point is essentially these huge elaborate sets and these surrealist pieces juxtaposed against scenes of intense violence or intense religious theme. But with this, I obviously have my budget, I obviously don't have mountains of time to do this. So instead I tried to take that sort of, that sort of thematic idea, that sort of inspiration of just projecting emotion and projecting narrative and tone visually. And because I can't do that with huge sets or elaborate, I keep blanking. With huge sets or elaborate, costumes or lots of actors, I've essentially tried to do that with the technical aspects instead, and to some degree of success, I suppose. In conclusion, I believe my FMP, I can say that my FMP will be benefited by some of these experiments, particularly the one with lighting, the one with sound design. I believe the sound design is exactly what I'm going for. I think it was the most effective. I think with the color grading that it gave me an idea of what to and what to not do, particularly considering most of my FMP will be filmed in a small number of rooms. With the changing in cameras, I've decided to scrap that idea entirely based on the fact it didn't turn out very well. But the lenses at the end, I've decided that I think that can still be an impactful way to get across narrative, to get across character and to get across tone. So I'm going to be including that and almost replacing the multitude of cameras with a multitude of lenses and post-production.
So, Sam, can you tell us what your plans are for part 2?
Part 2?
Part 2, so for the next part of the FMP.
Oh, FMP. Okay, sorry. For a second I thought I missed something out. No. My FMP is essentially a character study of a character who is beginning to go into a deep psychosis while he's in a hotel room. He's spiraling down into pits of his own mind. He can't tell the difference between reality and fiction anymore. He's constantly deluding himself with various substances, trying to cling to anything he can hold on to. While he does all of this, his reality fades away and crumbles around him. And this is sort of a film about him coming to accept his own part to play in the crumbling of his own reality, and perhaps taking steps to fix it, or perhaps not. You'll have to watch it to find out.
So we're talking short film?
About 20-30 minutes.
How long?
20-30 minutes.
How long?
20 to 30 minutes.
All right, sorry. I thought you said
surprised.
I thought you said 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.